everyone, T here, and today we're doing a bit of a different style video, but we're trying it out and I'm super excited to give this all a try. But today, we're talking about Percy Jackson. So, I have clearly stated that I am a Harry Potter fan. It's been obviously stated in a couple of my videos, and I made a short about my favorite series. Funnily enough, I didn't put Percy Jackson in there. Why didn't I? Because I actually only started reading the first book then, and I wasn't sure that I intensely liked it. I got stuck somewhere in the first book, put it down, and didn't pick it up for a year. And I'd almost forgotten what happened, but I didn't. And then I finally picked it up again and started reading, and I got so into it. And that is my backstory and why Percy Jackson is now one of my favorite series, and it wasn't in my favorite series video, because at the time I'd only read the part of the first book. But now I'm up to the fourth book, and I am super excited. It is so good so far. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about my 3 favorite Percy Jackson characters. I think the first one's obvious, but the others either might surprise you or might not. I don't know. But I will say right now that I'm going to be using a couple clips from the new trailer for the series. If you don't know that that's a thing, it is. Super exciting as well. But only from the new series trailer and teaser, because the show isn't out yet. It's coming out this December. I did actually try to make a video about this, but it turned out to be too long and cumbersome because I kept on just expressing my love for the series instead of really talking about it, and I couldn't edit it into a way that didn't look completely choppy and destroyed. So this is what we're gonna get. My favorite characters, and I realize this is a pretty long intro, but also I really, really like Percy Jackson now. So first of all, I'm just going to get this out of the way. My favorite book is the 3rd one. I know that a lot of people say their favorite book is the 5th one, and I haven't even read the first page of that one yet. I'm only in the 4th book, so if my characters change, I will maybe make an update video about it. Okay, so my first one, pretty obvious, is Annabeth. We all love Annabeth. She's amazing, she's smart, she's funny, she has coined the term seaweed brain, and she's so amazing that Percy can't think of a single good insult against her and just calls her wise girl. I mean, Percy couldn't come up with one better insult than wise girl? Oh! And as like I said, she coined seaweed brain. No matter how many times Talia tries to use it, she can't. I should mention there are spoilers for the books 1 through 4 maybe here. Okay, good. So, I really like Annabeth because she's smart and funny, just all the reasons. And I like her relationship with Percy, even though I'm just face-palming myself all the time thinking, they're cousins, they're cousins, they're cousins. Which, if I'll give a short explanation, I don't think I need to give a short explanation for how they're cousins, because all the Olympians are related, so all the Olympian children are related. If Hermes can call Percy his cousin, then Annabeth and Percy are cousins. No matter if even though they are like first cousins once removed, technically, I think. The more you know. But I love their relationship. It's very funny. And I especially like when Annabeth shows that her deepest flaw is her pride. That is a really interesting idea, that she thinks she can rebuild the world better. But the fact that she even has this weakness, but she can overcome it and still doesn't join Luke and his batch of cronies. I'm sorry, that's so funny, cronies, because it's Kronos. Oh. Focus. Annabeth is so fun. I love her character. I will address this now, that yes, they are not making Annabeth look just like Annabeth from the books in the show, but I actually have a very good reason why I'm not exactly upset about this. Yes, it was upsetting in the original movies, especially since those were coming out around the time that, like, the Harry Potter movies were coming out, and Harry Potter was being pretty faithful, and then Percy Jackson went and threw it into the lake. But I think that as long as she acts well for Annabeth, I can still imagine her as Annabeth. I'm not going to, my mind, who has made a set picture for Annabeth, probably isn't going to think that that's what she looks like, but I do think that she can play a really good Annabeth. So now that we got that out of the way, I think that is all I will say about Annabeth, because I will probably start rambling on and on and on and on. But I think I'll pick a favorite scene for all my characters, and one of my favorite scenes with Annabeth is in the third book, when, and again, this is just one of my favorite scenes, I love almost everything she does, but when she runs over to Luke, and even though she knows he's bad, and Percy is having his little dream vision, he wants to scream at her that he's an evil guy, she still helps him. Of course, I'm pretty sure some people speculate this is because she actually thought he was cool and kind of liked him, but also they had been friends since she was 7, and I feel like that's a very tough relationship to just throw into the lake. So I really like that she helps him even though he's bad. It's really shows that her character is amazingly loyal, even though she knows are bad people. If she had a loyal friendship to them, she doesn't just want to give that all up. And that was Annabeth Chase, daughter of Athena. Why do I do this? My second favorite character, maybe less surprising, but also I love her to bits, is Zoe. She's in the third book. She might be called Zoe. The thing is, I'll try to put her name up on screen right now. It's Z-O-E, but the E has like a colon that's laying down on top of it. And I never had one of those kind of talking classes where I learned those kind of things. So I don't actually know if this is meant to be Zoe or Zoe. I called her Zoe because that's the first name that came to mind when I saw the spelling. So I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name, but I call her Zoe. Zoe Nightshade. Love this girl. Even though she was a lot of people say that they like her because she was kind of redeemed through her, even though she was kind of annoying at first. I liked her the entire way through. From her first line, permission to kill m'lady, when she's pointing an arrow right down at that monster's face, to her last words in that book. Oh no. I loved this character, and every time she was there, I was hooked. I was looking up names, trying to figure out what was going on. Who was she? I knew she was some kind of mythological character, but I wasn't going to look up her actual name because that would be spoilers. So it was like looking up the Greek names they gave me to figure out who this character was without actually spoiling it for myself. And it was very fun, and I did get very close, but also I was very far. I loved her backstory with Hercules and Riptide, or I can't say it, or what Percy's sword is actually called. And her whole character is just very fun. From her saying thy and not your, and Talia being so annoyed at her everywhere they turned. It's amazing. And I would love to see so much more of her. And if this show gets to a third season, I need to get to the third season just so I can see what they do with her. Because I just love her character so much. And fun fact that I find really funny is when I read her description, it said that she had a long brown braid and a silver, like, I read it as, like, tinsel weaved in a crown in her hair, and I thought at the back of her head there's, like, silver tinsel weaved into a circle, but no, she's actually wearing, like, a jewel gem, like, crown, which I found so confusing. It was probably only me that thought this, but that's the first picture that came to my head, and that's still kind of what I think of when I think of her. And, of course, finding out that her dad is the Titan that holds up the sky. This was crazy. And her relationship with the other hunters, seeing them as sisters, and with Lady Artemis, thinking so highly of her, and thinking of her as a great friend. Her being so upset when she finds out that Artemis is in trouble, and her being ready to plan a mission. She's so empowering, and I love her character. I love how she's so clueless at times, and also just the fact that she has been driving automobiles since they were invented. That's a great quote. All of her quotes are amazing, and I actually would say I have 2 favorite scenes for her. But one of them, of course, is the Hoover Dam scene. We've all seen it, we've all read it, unless you haven't read Percy Jackson and you just went through the spoiler warning and didn't care. Hi, I would leave. You're gonna get spoiled. Bye. And just that whole scene, it's the perfect amount of comedy for me. I don't like when there are bad words in books or in movies, but that is just the perfect ounce of comedy in that realm of enjoyment. It's so funny. And then you of course got Bessie coming in during that scene, but I'm not talking about Bessie today. But my real favorite scene of her, probably also just one of them because I love everything she does, is definitely the stars. I can see the stars again, milady. And then she becomes a constellation. Oh my heart! It was so sweet. And the fact that she became so close with Artemis, who's a literal Olympian, it's amazing. Oh. And that is all of Zoe Nightshade. And then, a surprising favorite character, I guess, is actually my favorite Olympian. And my favorite Olympian is none other than Artemis, the 12-year-old goddess of the hunt and moon. I love this character, and I don't know, and at first I didn't know why, but I understand now. First of all, she's the first Olympian we see in real danger. We know they can't die, but when she was walked in and we knew she was actually bleeding, like an Olympian is bleeding. This is bad. Because in the first book, of course, we have Ares getting slashed in the heel. That was kind of funny to me because Achilles' heel, and he was slashed in the heel, and he was a bad guy. But this is Artemis. We knew when we met her, she was kicking monster butt with the other hunters. It was so cool. And she's in trouble. And saving Annabeth put her in my good books. When we found out that she was 12, and when I saw this 12-year-old girl who was like super empowered, I was like, oh, I like her already. Finding out she was an Olympian? That was amazing. And then, of course, there's her relationship with Apollo. Apollo's an idiot. We all know that. But when the first time he appears and he's like this cool 18-year-old and she's a 12-year-old and she stares at him with like, this is my brother. This is my twin brother. Oh. And him calling her little sis and she's saying, we're twins. How many millennia do we have to argue about this? And him looking like he's 18 and she looking like she's 10, 11, 12. It's so funny to me. And the relationship just gets better. All the lines that she has. And that's just all the funny parts. Then there are the serious parts when she says to Percy that he would be crushed by the weight of the sky because he's not a girl and wouldn't have a true hunter spirit. But she does it, but Percy is able to do it anyway, just long enough to get the dude under it. Oh, wow. Her relationship with Zoe, of course, also puts her in my good books. And I really like that even though she had just lost Zoe, her friend, and then she goes up to Zeus and stares him down as a 12-year-old and says that you can't kill Percy or Talia, is so strong and empowering. And then taking Talia in as a huntress just before she's 16. That was the coolest plot twist reveal ever. She was great in that book, and I do know that there's actually a book about Apollo becoming mortal, and the only reason I would read that book is if Artemis is in it. Apollo annoys me. The haikus annoy me, but I like that he's actually caring about his sister. Especially when she's been captured. It's so exciting and so much drama. But I should probably stop talking about it because I'm going to start ranting. So, here we're just going to have my favorite scene. I have two for this character again. So, first one is when Apollo tries to take Zoe's bag, calling her sweetheart, and Zoe's like, "What did you call me?" And she's like, "No, don't touch me." And Artemis is like, "You will not call my hunters sweetheart. You will not flirt with them." That whole interaction is the best. And then, of course, there's the scene when she confronts Zeus. I already talked about it, so I'm just going to say that is my other favorite scene. She was just holding the sky up, and she just walked straight up to him. Of all the Olympians, all of them who seem annoying and, oh, so annoying, we have her, who I actually don't get annoyed with whenever she's on page. I'm actually ready to see her and listen to her talk. And if they do not cast a 12-year-old to play this character, I'll be deeply offended. Not because I need the ages to be right. If you look up a picture of her in the original movies, she was cast as someone who is not 12. Is all I will say. But I find that disappointing because I find it really cool that in my head I could never wrap it around that she was actually looking like she was 12. But I think it's just so cool that that is what she looks like. Well, those are my three favorite characters in the Percy Jackson series. I have a lot of others. Honorable mentions, Tyson, love him. Percy, of course, he's the best. And Talia's fun too, I guess. And then, of course, there are the characters that I absolutely despise. Like, Aphrodite is the worst Olympian. Okay, maybe not the worst Olympian, but she is so annoying. Well, thank you all for watching. If you like this video, please like this video, and if you want to see more Percy Jackson stuff, because I want to start reviewing the show when it comes out on my channel, please subscribe, and I guess turn on notifications so you can see that when it comes out. Hopefully. Well, thank you all so much, and goodbye, good luck. T, signing off. Bye!